Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations. Thank you very much for joining me. First of all, I do need to apologise to all these other people who are streaming at the moment. We've got Grudy is doing his premiere, and I think Javier is live streaming as well. The airwaves just get a little bit packed at this time. Unfortunately, I have limitations as to when I can and can't stream, so it's been a little while since I've streamed actually, I think. I'd released a video last week. Maybe I streamed as well, I can't remember. But anyhow, thank you to everyone for joining. I do appreciate it. I want to say a big shout out to whoever has given the thumbs down at this early stage. I want to thank you for taking the time, taking the trouble. For the rest of you, if you would like to
smash that like button.
That's the one with the upwards pointing thing. So I am going to say hello to the Tech Doc for being first, and for DJ Craze claiming that he may have been first but just didn't let us know. We'll never know. Jay from the House of Moth is here. Thomas Armstrong, Jack68K, K-Mac Vintage, hello to you. It's not a name I recognise. You may have been in my live streams before, but if this is your first time, hello there. If you have been before and I haven't acknowledged or spoken to you, I apologise. If you have been before and I have acknowledged and spoken to you and forgotten, I apologise for that as well. Apple's Anonymous, who else have we got? The applause scared the crap out of me, and me too, because to be honest, when I clicked it, I thought it was actually it had a little triangle, and I thought I was clicking a thing to actually, like a maximize type thing. I thought it was like a minimize, maximize thing. I didn't realise the triangle was actually a play button. So, Mystery Margot is here. Steve is here. So anyhow, it was just the other day, I can't even remember what it was, someone was talking about sound effects, and I had forgotten that this software I use does have a few sound effects in it, and I should probably turn the volume down on these because these could blow our brains out. Triangle. So, I've got an idea. Oh, missed it. Try again. I've got an idea. Yeah, party noisemaker. I assume that's one of the things that goes brrrr. No, that's a glockenspiel. DJ Air. That could get tired real quick. And a bicycle. Yeah, so that's basically all I have, and of course the applause which you heard before. If you're wondering why I'm holding a microphone, I am not actually using this for audio. This is a microphone that I bought recently, very cheap, and I put it out in the outside, and then it rained, and now it crackles, and I thought I might have a look at it today and see if I can find out why it crackles, but I don't know, I've kind of lost interest already. I undid one screw, that's enough. Right, now, I've got a whole bunch of things to work on today. I don't know which one I'm going to work on first. Actually, I probably do, because it's going to be the one behind me. I don't know if anyone has seen that I released a video last week about what to do if your recap doesn't work. That is designed to be kind of a resource, and I hope that it might help people out in the future if they are struggling. It is, it's sort of hopefully will help some people. We'll see. And of course, it was done in conjunction with my good friend Dan from the Canadian Computer Collector channel, and that was an awful lot of fun. He recorded a whole stack of little video snippets for me, and they're hilarious. So I used some of them. Some of them I felt like I probably shouldn't use for the sake of good taste, but they were still incredibly funny. Okay, let me just scroll down here. Oh, goodness me, look at that. Okay, so Max Button is here. Hello there. Patrick Pitts is here. Hello. Kai is here. Hello, Kai. Kai is still awake. And Will Jacobs, been here often. Yes, Will Jacobs, I recognise that name. Wayne3225, hello. Liking the guy. Yes, I know. I know Kai is a huge Alien fan, so he does like the Geiger work, and of course the xenomorph that we have there. Okay, so who wants to recap my Mac 2CX I got last week in an auction for $40? Are you saying recap it for $40, or are you saying you paid $40 for it? That's a very good price, by the way, if you did pay $40. Luke F, hello there. B, hello B. Glad I'm not using headphones right now. I promise I won't use any more of those stupid noises in, okay? All right, promise. I promise I will not anymore. Is that a Samsung mic? No, it's a cheap one. It's a no-name brand, really, I think. So, yeah. Chinesium. Okay, time for early tea. Okay, fair enough. Retro Hut, still awake and abusing my new 500 megabit fiber connection for the benefit of Plex. Awesome. Gotta love Plex. Yes, I tell you, Plex is once you really get into it, Plex is a life changer. It really is. It just completely changes the way you do things. So anyhow, wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. I have a little iFixit bag here, which originally contained a replacement LCD screen for an iPhone XS Max. This is a screen that got damaged by water, even though it is a phone that is meant to be water resistant. Water clearly did get into this screen and it stopped working. And I've got to tell you, trying to sort out problems with a phone when the screen doesn't work, touchscreen still worked, but you couldn't get, so you're trying to guess what the phone is asking you. Is it asking me to put in my password now? Or maybe it's asking me to accept the, sort of like connect it to an external device. It's just really, really frustrating. But anyhow, all's well that ends well. It was a phone that had never been backed up. A situation which we will remedy, but never backed up. Then the screen got damaged, so bought a replacement screen, put that on, and we were able to get it up and running again and get everything backed up off it. So that was great, because in the meantime, the owner of this phone bought a new phone. So because ultimately we couldn't wait, she needed a phone. So. Almost run out of space on my NAS though, down to just 1 terabyte usable space. How big is it, just out of curiosity, Kai? Do you use it just for Plex, or are you using it for other things as well, like backups and stuff like that? Not sure. That's a joke. Shure microphones. I've actually got a Shure microphone here somewhere. Yeah, so 16 terabyte. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. So I'm guessing you're using that for backups and stuff as well. Look at my sign. It's sideways. What's happened? It's gone crooked. I'll have to sort that out. It's drunk. But it's just, look at the way the liquid's flowing out. You can't have that if it's tipped like that. The liquid would just stay in the bottle. Okay. Oh yeah. I've only got I have a hard drive dedicated to my Plex, and it's not in a NAS. It's actually just running from my Mac Pro. I think it's 6 terabytes. I think 6 or 8 terabytes that I've got dedicated just to the Plex, and I've still got plenty of space on there, so doing good. So anyhow, this screen here, while it looks all fine and has no cracks on it, and has been well looked after, is actually damaged by water. So I can probably just throw this away, but there's something about it I want to keep it. The replacement screen, incidentally, that I bought from iFixit, not particularly expensive, but one of the things they did warn me, they said this screen will not be as good as the original, it will not be as bright, it will not be as contrasty, and that is true. But the phone is still a good spare for us in case one of us gets a broken phone. Retro Techie. The man, the myth, the legend down under. Is that what it is? Must be something like that, yeah. Not quite a myth. So I got this sent to me recently. Kai, you might recognize this. If I put this up to the camera reasonably close, or I can maybe even change to a top view here and we can look at it like that. Do you recognize this one, Kai? Because you should. This is, of course you do. I'm not really questioning your memory here. I know you recognize it, but I'm just filling in time here until I find the other one that I have, which is here, somewhere. Anyhow, this was sent to me by a mutual friend. It was sent to me by James Wages, also known as JDW, or Awesome Channel. Check out his stuff. He has had a problem with an ADB on his Macintosh SE, and he noticed that I had replaced the ADB chip with one of these, and he did the same, and he had it work for a little while and then stop working. So he sent it to me to see if it's going to work in mine. I've had a look at this with a microscope, and I don't see anything wrong with the soldering. A little bit of flux and gunk in between the pins there, so I'll probably ultrasonic it, but I really don't see any issue with the work that he's done here at all. And essentially what it is this is a little converter board that allows you to put this little PLCC chip in place of a dip chip, because these dips are no longer available, but these PLCCs are. And so Kai made this awesome little thing where you can just put these little, sort of headers in and solder this chip on there. One request I would have, if you ever make any refinements to this in the future, Kai, if the pads could come out just a little bit further outwards. So where the pads actually sit, I mean, I know that they are in a position based on what that software does, but it is a lot easier to solder a PLCC if those pads just extend a little bit further outwards, just a little bit further outwards. But anyhow, it's still quite usable. So anyhow, I'm going to put this into my SE, and we're going to see if I'm going to have the same problem. So, sort of essentially, James said that he put it in and it worked for a bit and then it stopped working. So I've got the same sort of model SE as he does, so I'm going to pop it in mine and we're going to see how it goes. I've already got one of these in mine and it's working beautifully. I didn't need to put it in mine, it was just because I was using it for testing. So, hello Joe, thank you for joining. The board is a little larger. Okay, cool. Yep. Yeah, so anyhow, I always keep a few of these. Mine are green though, I didn't do mine in blue. Main reason why I didn't do mine in blue is because they're going onto a green board, so if we're wanting them to appear a little bit invisible, trying to disappear into the background, I've kept them as a green. Having said that, it's a completely different green to the green of the old SE boards, but that's another story. Okay, so a little longer without problems. It's a KiCad project. Cool. JDW hosts the Retro Maccast podcast, but does he? No, does he? Does he? Does it really? I didn't think he did. I thought he did. I thought that was someone else. But what do I know? Yeah. So all right. So anyhow, we've got to move on to getting some work done here. I've been prattling on for long enough. So yes, I just wanted to mention the new video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out when you get a chance. And it's the one where I am repairing a Macintosh Color Classic for, what's his name? For Dan, Canadian Computer Collector. Now, what we have to do today, the first order of business is this guy here, job number 175. Now, who knows what sort of board this is? There are a few very, very clear telltale signs, and people in the know will know what sort of board this is, just at a glance. The reason why I can, James and John, okay, cool. Jeff Barnard, hello there. John and James and John. Yeah, I'm sure it's a different person on Retro Maccast, but I don't know. It's a beige board. It is a beige board. Thank you very much for that, Jay. I didn't bring any of my buttons down. I'll have to go get them later on. I've been making lots and lots of badges, what we call badges, what Americans call buttons, or pins or whatever. Yeah, so this is a beige board, but I've got a super chat here from Annex. I assume it's just meant to be Annex. I'm just going to do this and then I'm going to read it. $10. Thank you very much. Broken trace at the pad meets trace edge. Fixed by exposing the trace and a large solder blob on the cap. What do you think? Also, thanks for your 2SI resources. Broken trace at the pad meets trace edge. Okay, yeah. Fixed by exposing the trace and a large solder. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work for sure. If you can't get that blob to work, then you just use a little bit of wire to join them. So, if you can get that blob to actually bridge the gap, that's fine. That'll work perfectly. I do that all the time. Yes, Max, you are indeed correct. It is an LC575 board. The telltale signs we have are, first of all, it is a 68040, which immediately rules out a few computers. We know if it's a 68040, it is of a particular vintage. It has the slide-in connector. So again, that narrows it down to a certain range of computers. But more importantly, this is the smaller connector. And the only computers that have these smaller connectors are the LC520, LC550, Color Classic 2, and the 575. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I've missed any. And of those, only one of them has an 040 chip. So when you see this smaller connector and you see an 040, it pretty much guarantees you're looking at a 575. And it's the one that I generally mistakenly call the 475 all the time, but it's a 575. So this needs to be recapped. It was sent to me by a customer, and I can't remember if I photographed it, so I'm going to photograph it now just in case. Just in case. Camera. And a click. And I also take photos of when people give me or send me extra RAM and stuff like that, because if they get misplaced, this is, I mean, it's really interesting. This is a RAM sim. Look at it. Bizarre. El Bizarro. It's just got two little chips and empty space on it. Never seen anything like it before. I assume you can have two on here as well. The future, someone else may not know why it was done, or in the extreme redo it because it's ugly. Yes, look, you run that risk, but you run that risk with running a wire as well. Someone might go in there and tinker with it in the future and get rid of the wire, and then it's gone. But what can you really do about it? You stick a great big sticker on it saying repaired. Okay, and this one also has two 512K VRAM sims here. So this has got 1 megabyte of VRAM. Actually, it's got more than 1 megabyte because this has onboard VRAM as well. There, so it's probably 1.5, I'd say. So anyhow, let's get a little zippy locky bag so that I can put these chipperoonies into it and label them so that they don't get lost. Wow, they'll probably get lost, but the reason why I put a label on it is that when they get found, you know who they belong to. Haven't even turned the soldering iron on. Ill prepared. Now, no. I am looking for a permanent marker. An permanent marker, please. I normally have one here. Okay, right. All right, okay. We have a problem here. I really don't like not labeling these things. It's a nice little double negative there. Don't like not doing it. There we go. Found one in a very, very logical position. 175. Incidentally, I should also mention that I am currently working on the next follow-up video for the Ultrasonic behind me. So I've made some really, really good progress with it and found out all sorts of really interesting stuff about why I've been having problems. And now I believe I've resolved many of those problems. I am going to be doing some interesting stuff with it. What I'm actually planning to do is connecting up the three choices that I've got: Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and the third one is one you've probably never heard of called, I think it's called Micromite, which is a small version of a thing called the Maximite. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, shall we add the chickens? Oh, we'll just put it there like that for the moment. How about that? Is that okay? Oh, it's just pigeons at the moment. Oh no, I see some chickens off on the side there. There's one. That one coming towards us now, just above my head there. That one there. That one is the Wyandotte. And the Wyandotte has this beautiful feather colour, which you can't really see there because the resolution is so terrible. It's sort of like they're black with little fringes of gold around them. Gorgeous chickens. Very, very pretty one, that one. This is the content I came for. Sam Perner, hello. Emily and Sam in Birmingham, Alabama. Hello there. Hello from Sydney. Incidentally, it's quite a nice day here today. Beautiful Sunday. Sun is shining, a bit windy, but you know, it's pretty nice. We've just found out that we've got our third La Nina heading our way, so we are likely to have another wetter than usual summer, and I am not at all happy about it. Screw the repairs, you want, Chooks. So, yeah, so anyhow, what I'm planning to do is set up a little, as I say, I will probably use a thing called a micromite, because I've already got one and it's already been set up to work with a thermometer. But what I plan to do is set up 4 separate thermometers on this thing, one for each driver. And then I will set up on this little board a fail-safe. So I'll get it to show me the temperature of all four drivers, and then I'll set up a fail-safe that if any of those drivers go over a certain temperature, it'll just shut the thing down. So I'm planning to do that just to see how that goes, just as a fail-safe thing. I'll probably work on that a little later today. Yeah, so follow-up video to the ultrasonic cleaner coming out soon. I'm going to be doing some fun stuff in it too, because I've been sticking the, what do you call them, the transducers to the bottom of the tank, and I know what's happening right this very second. Jay is rewinding the video so that he can take a little snap of me going. So the transducers, which are stuck to the bottom of the tank, I have bought a little tank, which is actually out there. I could bring it in to show you if you want. And a little tank, just a little pretend one, so like a muck around one, made of the same material as this tank. And I am sticking on 4 transducers using different methods, and then we are going to yank them off and see which method is the strongest. So that is, where are the pigeons? It's too quiet. Yeah. Well, the pigeons get scared away by things sometimes. I mean, they tend to hang around, but sometimes they get chased away by things. So firstly, the chickens can get really aggressive with them sometimes and chase them away, but it's more likely to be a predator. You know, it could be a cat walking through the backyard, or it could be ravens, or kookaburras or something like that. You know, we've got a few sort of meat-eating birds around, and if they come in and start being mean and rotten, then they might chase the pigeons away. The chickens are generally pretty good. The chickens will still run and hide if there is a predator around a lot of the time. But these predators aren't going to pick on a chicken. Chickens are just too much trouble. They're just flappy, scratchy, crazy trouble. Yeah, you just wouldn't. Grudy, hello there. Thank you for joining. Has your video finished yet? I hope. I thought I gave you 30 minutes. I thought that's got to be enough time. There's no way that video is going to go more than 30 minutes. Oh, look at that. You got a super chat. Where is it? There it is. Pair character punching in the air with fist and bump written on his knuckles. Thank you very much for that. This is the stupid thing about this software. It is unable to show super stickers. So it gives a verbal description of what they look like, and it's just so silly. Super sticker. Yeah. Pair character punching the air with fist and bump written on his knuckles. I'm imagining it. Yeah, actually, I have actually got it here. I can go and look. There, I see him. There he is. I really would like them to fix that one day, but it's obviously something they can't. Was not easy because they haven't done it yet, and they do regular updates to this software. So thank you very much for the super sticker. It was a 50-minute video. Crikey! Mind you, this is coming from someone who does 3-hour-long live streams, but never mind. I hope it all went well and it was entertaining, and I hope that it ended in world fastest. I already know it ended in world fastest because you told us in our chat. So. Okay, so now I'm still we're here looking at chickens, and watch both streams. Proof is in the chat. It wasn't just both actually. I mean, because I was watching Grudy's and I was watching Javier as well. So yeah, it's a very, very busy this time, which of course is Sunday morning here, Saturday night in the US. It's a very, very busy time for the live streaming airwaves. Got to tells you. All right, so what we're going to have to do here, bye Chooks. We'll come back and say hello to you a little bit later on. What we're going to have to do here, well, first we're going to have to zoom out a bit because this is just crazy close. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. There we go, that'll do. So we have got here an LC575. It is a very popular Mac. One of the reasons for that is the fact that it can fit into a Color Classic, and with a few little mods you can end up making a Color Classic 640 by 480 screen and then run an 040 chip in it, and then you can actually go in and do things like, I don't know, play Wolfenstein and stuff like that with it. So it's cool. So I was actually watching Sean. Sean did a video recently where he was speeding up a G4, one of the old 466 G4s, and took it up to just under 2 gigahertz, I think, something like that. It's impressive stuff. Yeah, so yeah, I do like those sorts of videos. Always find Sean's videos very entertaining. Right, we're going to get some caps off this. So I'm going to turn on the hot air station. We're going to switch over to the microscope, and I'm going to start whipping them off. Going to get the old heat shields from here, which are these little blades that here we go, blades from the box cutting knives that you can just snap to whatever length you want. Needless to say, this would have originally been a nice, bright, shiny metal color, and now it's got a patina now. It has a lovely patina. What are the chances that I won't need to recap the Mac 2CX I got last week? I looked at the board and didn't see anything bad. The chances are 0. You will need to recap that board, I can promise you. On the 2CX, there's this little row of capacitors. They're all in a nice little line. I think there's like 3 47s and 2 10s or something like that, but there's a little straight line. It's one of the ways when you look at a 2CX board, you immediately know you're looking at a 2CX because it's just got this little line of caps. And I promise you they will have leaked and they will not be functioning. If the 2CX just works at the moment, you consider yourself incredibly lucky, but the chances are it won't switch on because the startup circuit will be cooked, and you will need to recap it to get that working again. So I'm just going to say the chances of you not having to recap it are very, very slim. So, yeah. Sean needs to show more whiteboard guy. It's corny. It's corny, but it's funny. You know, I do like the whiteboard guy. I don't know. It seems so childish. It's such childish humor, but it still makes me chuckle. I guess, you know, even though I'm nearly 50, still allowed to laugh at it. It doesn't switch on, yeah. So that'll be because of that row of capacitors near the startup circuit. They'll have leaked. They'll stop it from switching on. You probably find that if you were to get that board and you were to hotwire it, so in other words, bypass the soft power, which is when you press the power on the keyboard, if you were to bypass that, it would probably fire up. A lot of them do, but yeah, it's got to be recapped. So sorry. I'm being summoned away. 2 of my cats, Murph and Gary, are demanding feeding and patting. Okay, fair enough. Understandable. It was an absolute pleasure to see it. Like, to have you on a live stream that I'm doing at this late in the day was very nice. And of course, I actually even got to chat to you early today. So twice in one day for me. So I feel like I've definitely got my Kai dose today. I'm feeling pretty good. So thank you very much for joining, Kai, and I shall see you later. Did you get that Color Classic analog board you recapped a few weeks ago that then started clicking? No, I haven't got to that one yet. I have got nothing but problems with Color Classic analog boards at the moment. My one is blowing fuses. I've got another one here. It's been recapped and its flyback transformer is on the fritz, and I've got to see if I can potentially repair it. If not, try and find a replacement flyback transformer. And then the third one, which is doing the clicking. Now, what I did do was I got my stethoscope out. This is my stethoscope. Here's my stethoscope. And I got this, and we did a little bit of this. Now, this has the normal stethoscope bit on the end. But what I do is I whip that off, and I just have this here, which is plastic, so it's non-conductive, so I can shove this into an analog board and I can just move this around until I hear where the whistling is coming from. Now the whistling is coming from, this is probably not the board, but I can still use it to show you. Was it the whistling, or because it was going click click click? But yeah, there was definitely a whistling sound, and it's coming from a whistly clicking sound. It's coming from in here somewhere. It's either coming from this transformer or coming from, something around here, but it's definitely in this general vicinity here is where that sound is coming from. So I've got a little bit of work to do around there to try and find what the offending, of course it could be an offending part somewhere else, making that thing whistle. But at least it gives me a sort of an idea. I don't have a schematic for these, so it's all bloody reverse engineering and stuff, which sucks. But that's kind of where I am with that one. So have not resolved that one yet, but hopefully will. Hopefully will. Transformers, more than meets the eye. Is a local electronics store is closing in 2 months and is selling off all stock. This means I need to order all stuff online. I couldn't even get the right gender video adapter. What a bugger. That's a pain. I'll pop in the next time you do it. Thank you. So, yeah. I think I mentioned this on one of my live streams that the electronics place that I buy a lot of my stuff from here locally is called JCar. And the JCar, one of their warehouses, they were selling off all the warehouse stock. And I got there I got there 2 days, I got there late. If I'd have been there on the first day, I would have got some awesome stuff. Charlie's here, hello there. One of the worst things with someone doing a sell-off like that is how much stuff do you buy? There was stuff there that was so cheap. And I'm like, I should buy that and I should buy that. And it's like, well, then I've got to store it, you know? Anyhow. All right. We're going to do some recapping here. Some recapping, cap the thing. Okay, well, we've got some, looks like we've got some gunk here. Or something. So we've got caps. Wow, this looks like it's been recapped. Seriously, this looks like it's been recapped. They're not factory soldering. No way. No way, Hosey. I better look this up in my notes. What do we got? Because this may not just be a recapping, this might be a repair. If we're looking just for a recapping, I've got an LC2 I can do. They're always a bit of a pain, but you know. Repairs. There we go. And this is, now look, LC575, I've labelled it as recapping. Let me see if I can find his information. Who is this? This guy. Brad. Customers. I logged this in a real rush, so I didn't put any of the customers' notes in here. So I have to look here. Contact via Facebook Messenger. Messenger. Have I got Messenger in here? I haven't even got it here. Messenger, App Store. Got to install it. I recently erased the hard drive on this computer and installed Big Sur. And so I haven't actually gone in and restored all the software on here yet. I've got all of the important stuff, like my live streaming stuff, but and browsers and things like that, and the software for my video camera and stuff and all that and things. I'll have the chickens while we're waiting. Robert Zarafa, hello there. I think EV blog went to that electronics warehouse closing and did some videos. He did. It was his video that tipped me off that it was happening. He went there on the first day. He went there on it was on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and he went there on the Friday. I ended up going on the Sunday. There was still, by that stage they were just selling everything dirt cheap, but they just didn't have as much good stuff, as much of the leftover stuff. I was very frustrated because it would have just been better for me to go on the Friday, and I could have filmed it and done the same as EEV blog, but I didn't see the email. They sent me an email saying it was happening because I'm a member of that. I'm a member of that shop, but I didn't see the email, and I was so mad with myself, angry. Okay. Where are we? Sorry about this. I just need to Have I downloaded Messenger yet? App Store. Open. There we go. Open. There we go. Sign in with Facebook. I now need to do two-factor authentication, which I'm fine with. I like two-factor authentication. This was me. There we go. Sorry, I realise how tedious this is. Do you want to allow this page to open Messenger? Yes. Something went wrong while signing in. I'm going to fire that up again and we'll try again. Sign in with Facebook. Allow. What? Son of a gun. Don't even know if that's my password. Enter the code sent to your phone. Oh crap, where did it go? Here it is. I really don't like having to do this, but you know, it's got to be done. Got to be done. Are there any chickens there? I can't actually see. Oh yeah. The blind one is the one that's kind of sitting above my head up there. It's just sitting down. She does a lot of sitting because she's blind. Okay, let's have a look at this person, and there we go. Let's read what he says. What he says. Okay. Recapped it and worked for a day, then the sad Mac chime started. Well, that is almost always a RAM sim, so we're probably RAM chip. So we're probably going to have to just work our way through it. We'll have a little quick inspection of the board. We'll just look for anything that's nasty. We'll put it into a color classic and we'll fire it up and see what it does. And then if it's just giving us a sad Mac chime, we'll work our way down the onboard RAM, replacing one chip at a time until hopefully it stops drying. So let's go back to the scope view and have a little bit of an inspectoroonie. So this actually fits quite well with the video that I did about when you have recapping and it doesn't work afterwards. So we go through our checklist. And so we're going to go through it again today. The first thing we're going to do, the very first thing we're going to do is, what was the first thing? Oh, clean it. That's right. We'll check and see if it's clean. It looks pretty clean, but we'll just check. A little bit of gunk. It will need to be in the, it will need to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. I mean, that's for sure. That's for true. But, I mean, there is gunk here. But I don't know that would be responsible for it not working. We'll have a little look. Yeah, see, this is not fluid. It looks more solid. So let's look around here. Reasonably clean. Now he's obviously replaced electrolytics to electrolytics, which rules out some problems, so it's good. There's a little bit too much solder there, but really the job's pretty good. Here's nice. Here's nice. That's very nice. That's, I think it's a crystal oscillator there. And yeah. There's certainly no dirtiness here that I would consider would stop this from working. So, yeah. Eggs that they made were so much better than the factory farm store-bought junk. Yes, it's very true. It's because the chickens are happy. Chickens are happy and they're fed well. They're usually fed in backyards and farms and that. They've usually got a much more sort of versatile diet, you know, much more range diet. They scavenge, so they're eating insects and little bits of greenery and this, that, and whatever they can find. I also give them a top quality chook food, which they can survive on that and nothing else. But I also vary it up. They get seeds and they get corn and they get cucumber and, you know, so lots of variation in the diet, and that makes them very happy and it makes them make nice eggs. So yes. Okay, so it doesn't look particularly dirty, so I'm not really too concerned about the cleaning side of it. So let's move on to number 2. Number 2 is check your work. And in order for us to do that, I have got to grab a recapping guide for the 575. I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? Yep, I am. Nope. Color Classic 2, don't get many of those. Okay, there's the 575. So these two are meant to be 47 microfarad 16 volt with positive to the left, and they are. Yep. These ones are 47 16s and positive. So it's nice and easy when you're putting electrolytics in place of electrolytics, because the screen printing actually has these little sort of bevels on the edges which show you which way this cap's meant to go on, so that just makes life easier for spotting these sorts of things. There's another 47 down here. That's around the right way, and it's the right cap. And of course also checking to make sure it's soldered on both sides. And we've got 3 down here in a row, little soldiers. 1, 2, 3. We got a couple of 47s here. 1, 2, soldered well, around the right way, good. You can always give them a nudge to make sure they're not wobbling on one side. You know, make sure they're all fixed. So these are nice and neat, these ones. And these are 100s. 100 microfarad, 6.3 volts. That's those two there, and they're on the right way. So, step number 2, check your work, looking pretty good. So, let's have a look at, what did I say was the next one? Was it solder balls? I can't remember. Could have been traces. I could definitely do with a clean there. A little bit of gunk. Yeah, this will definitely want some cleaning. I can't remember all the checklist off the top of my head, so I apologise. I'm just going to look for any little stray solder balls that might be floating around. No. Okay. And we're also going to check for damaged traces. I'm kind of doing that at the same time. I don't see anything looking too bad here. Yeah, and then of course one of the other things we need to do is check the underside. So I'm just going to change cameras here for a minute. And we'll just go to this, and I just need to check and make sure that we haven't got any components that have been knocked off. Because it happens. Oh, look at my big head. I was actually looking at one of my own boards the other day, and I noticed there was a capacitor being knocked off it. So it does happen. Just looking for any little bits of solder left that sort of looks like it's sharp. Looks like it used to have something stuck on it. No, it looks pretty good. All right, let's plug it in, see what it does. Oops, moving camera. Yeah. Zip it up. Right. Here's a Color Classic I prepared earlier. Good. Now, is this the board that the analog board that works? We'll soon find out, won't we? So I'm going to pop this in here. Now, this has not had this board. This analog board has not had the what do you call it? The mod. Side view. Where is it? There it is. Has not had the Mystic mod. So that means that we won't actually be able to fully boot up with the Color Classic, but we can at least power it up and see if it chimes, that sort of thing. So should you check all the legs on the chips to see if they are soldered down properly? Yes, you should. That is one of the steps you should follow. And I actually will do that with the RAM, but I've got to the point now where I'm just curious about what it's doing. I want to see if we are going to get this SADMAC chime, the aforementioned. Okay, switch that on there. And then hat chimed. We didn't get a SADMAC chime, did we? Which does suggest that we could be dealing with a not soldered properly problem. This takes forever to warm up, by the way. Forever. At a certain point, I will say, no, it's not working, but it's very weird behavior. This is weird behavior because we got a chime and we're not getting any screen, nothing up on the screen. That's not normal. It's not normal, friends. I'm going to connect a keyboard to it. And we're going to do the restart. Interesting. Thank you for putting that up there, Jay. Okay, so it's not starting now. So third time unlucky. The third restart we got there. Interesting. So I'm going to switch him off now. And I'm going to switch him back on again. And we're going to what the hell, man? This thing's being a cow. It's not fair on cows, is it really? What's cow done? Nothing. Let's try and hot wire it. I don't think it'll make any difference, but I'm going to try it. There it is. No, it's totally dead now. Get nothing from it. Nope. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Well, it looks like we're going to have some fun after all. Where did I put this? That's right, it was down here. Oh, there it is. There was a thing I dropped and I was like, where did it go? I see where it went. Okay. Oh, got a really interesting video coming up soon, by the way. Might even get a chance to work on it later today. A fantastic new device. I can't tell you any more than that because I have signed a non-disclosure agreement, but it is a new awesome thing. I don't want to talk it up too much. I mean, I think it's awesome. You may not, but anyhow. Have I mentioned Kai Wheats today? Anyone? Anyone? Kai Wheats KM601 multimeter. So much multimeter, budget price. Right, so let's have a look at these chips from the side and just see what the soldering looks like. Scope view. One thing I really think I need to do is ultrasonic this. Right, so these are the RAM chips, and we're looking at these from an angle. And we're just looking for any of these joints that don't look too crash hot. But so far so good. I mean, there's gunk. Oh, there's definitely gunk. See, look at the gunk gear. Not the gunk. There's a solder ball. You see the bowl? So I'm having trouble holding this still. If we have one solder ball, we could have many. God, this, you know, I just want to chuck it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Got to follow my own advice, you know. Is it clean? Answer, no. So definitely going to put this one in the ultrasonic cleaner before I do anything else, because it just seems crazy. It seems crazy to go down a diagnostic path when it could be as simple as a little bit of gunk. So chuck it in the cleaner. Shall I put it in the cleaner while I'm live streaming? It's pretty noisy. I'm just going to remove this soipo-yo. So that the cleaning can get into the little holes. I'm a little bit coy when it comes to removing CPUs because everyone has an opinion on how they're supposed to be removed. Right, I'm going to heat this thing up first. It's not even warm. And then I guess I'll probably recap an LC2, I guess, because I know I've got one that needs doing. Oh, I've got a cache card, 2CI cache card. I'll do that next. This is my Color Classic pile. Yeah, haha. Where am I going to put them? That's still not working either. I've got to fix that up. Poop, 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 poop. Poopity poop, poop. Come on, what are you doing? Something's stuck. There we go. Stuckaroony. I've got a nice fresh bath of liquid here. It was getting a little bit green and grey and stuff, so I put fresh liquid in here. Always love it when it's fresh. There's a fly in here. How'd you come? There we go. Right, switch him on. Okay, so he's heating up. It'll take about 5 minutes. Right. So, oopsie. Whoopsie. Speaking of 2CI, have you sent the chips? No, I haven't. And there is a reason for that, and that is basically because it's not just the chips I need to send. I had this massive shopping list of things that I needed to send. I have got them all done now, so they're all good to go. So I just need to basically put them into a container now. So what I'm going to do with the one of the chips, I'm going to 3D print a thing sort of like this. I'm just going to change views here for a sec. Sort of like this. A little squarey thing to pop the chip onto it that keeps it protected, and then I'll wrap it all up. So this is so the other chips are PLCCs. They're really they're easy. There's no issue. It's this one here, which is the one that I'm worried about because of all these little pins. It'll just be so much easier to put this on if none of these pins get bent. So I've got to basically make a little container for that. That's fine. That's That'll get done probably today. But yeah, it was basically just I had a whole stack of things that I need to send Jack. So this is getting ready to go into the cleaner. Got any PowerPC recaps? Probably the 6100s are just and just after are probably due. Yeah, I've done a 6100. Interestingly enough, when I did my own 6100, I discovered some corrosion on there. It wasn't from leaking caps. It was probably from batteries or from storage or something like that. And so even though it didn't really need caps when I did it, that's a few years ago, it was nice to give it that close inspection and find that corrosion. I was able to clean it up and kind of stop it from getting any worse. So, you know, yeah, some of them are probably going to need doing. I haven't actually gone in and done a whole series of tests, but I don't get that many. So I guess a lot of them are still working fine. What's the rarest Mac you own? Rare. Well, probably one of the rarer ones would be the Macintosh 2 VI. Now, they're actually not that rare out here, but because they were never sold in the US, they are a little bit rare. And they were only sold for a very short period of time. They are crap though, no one wants them. So they're not really desirable. They might be rare, but not necessarily desirable. So the 2VI, and then I've got a 512KE. I've got a Quadra 700. I've got a Quadra 950. A lot of these ones are getting pretty hard to find these days. So yeah, I don't have anything that's really peculiar or rare because I don't care about that really. You know, when it comes to things like prototypes and stuff, they don't interest me. I just like using them and playing with them, and so, you know, for me, they can just be the bog standard ones. All right, so we've got to kill some time while this thing cleans and dries. So I'm going to go upstairs. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I am going to grab an LC2, which we'll recap. So what I'll do is I'm going to change the sound over to the chicken sound, and I'll let you watch chickens while I am gone. Back in a minute. And changing the sound now. Where are all the chickens? Hello? Hello. How are you today? What's the most valuable one you own? That's really hard to say. As in, like, what? I don't know what's so many. I've got so many. I don't know what a lot of them are going for these days. See, I've got like a Quadra 700 and I've got a Quadra 950. They go for silly money these days. I've got a virtually pristine condition titanium G4 PowerBook. You know how most of those, they end up losing the paint around the edges. Mine, it looks perfect. All the hinges are still perfect. And you look at something like that and you think, yeah, that might be worth a fair bit of money. I don't know. What's I don't know. I don't know. I've got an LC2 here. That's certainly not the most valuable one I own. The great thing about the LC2 is that there are a lot of them out there. There really are. And they're not a bad computer. So if you're looking at kind of getting into the old vintage Mac stuff, it's not a bad starting point. Okay, yes, you won't be able to play Doom on it. You probably can't even play Wolfenstein. Actually, let's take the word probably out of that. But you can play games like Civilization, Warlords, you know. Okay, so this is actually my board, believe it or not. I'm probably not going to hang on to it. I'm probably going to sell this one. I already have an LC2. I don't need another one, and I think it's, you don't want to just be hogging all the stuff. Share it around. Share it with the townspeople. There we go. Amazing thing about the old LC2 is that this comes from the era when the plastics were still good. And so you can bend the plastics, because the board's held in with these little plasticky things holding them in. And you can bend them with impunity and they just don't snap. And then you get one, say like an LC475, all looks the same. You bend the plastic and crack, gone. You're done. This is looking like it's getting pretty warm. Let's pop a thermometer in there and find out what the temperature is. And I shall tell you what it is in Celsius. I might even tell you what it is in Fahrenheit as well. We are hovering up around it's sitting around about 45 degrees C. Oh, it's going north. That's enough. That's enough. And so what is that? It's about 120 degrees F at the moment. And that's warm enough for me to pop this in. So this is now going to be running. So it's going to be buzzing in the background, and for that I apologise, but I have had people tell me in the past that they can still hear me okay while it's going. So I'm going to trust in the words of those good people and run this while we're going. So I'm going to put this on for probably 15 minutes, or maybe, yeah, about that. How's that, folks? How's the sound? Is that all right? Oh, all right. So, 23 people here today. It's a very quiet, still quite personal live stream today. I haven't really been doing a particularly good job of, promoting my live streams lately. Got here a QuickTime. These are all the badges that I've been making. So I've got the Brancus one, got the QuickTime one, got the ResEdit one, PowerPC, Mac OS, Bernadette the chicken, Sad Mac, System 6 trash, OS 9, OS 10, Stuff at Expander, this was Jay's idea. Me with a cap on my head. Apple logo embossed. Pretty. HyperCard. Picasso Mac. I have no idea what I'm going to do with these. I'm probably going to give them away with recaps and things like that in the future. Give them away with maybe with Blue Scuzzy and Zulu Scuzzy sales. Just quick mention to anyone out there, the Zulu Scuzzy Mini is around now. So if you are someone who does like the Zulu Scuzzy and want to use it, The Mini is the same size as a SCSI 2SD version 5.5, so it's the external one. So it's called Zulu SCSI Mini. They are available for purchaseness at the moment. So let's go. This ultrasonic cleaner is making some weird noises these days. I sure hope it's not dying on me. I mean, if it does die, it owes me nothing. It's been so good. Let's get rid of some caps. Some caps. So if anyone is just joining and you're wondering what the buzzing sound is in the background, I am running the ultrasonic cleaner at the moment. We've got an LC575 in there that I believe is probably suffering gunk-related issues. So we'll clean it, we'll test it out, we'll see what happens afterwards. If it's still not working, then we'll go some further diagnostics. But at the moment, it's very hard for me to start going down a diagnostic path when I can see gunk on the board. Got to clean it first and then do it next. Starbuck Tech, hello there. Mystery Margo, would you ever make something like some stickers that say recapped by Brankus Creations or Bruce Rain, something you could put on the computer after it's been repaired? Well, I did actually do that. I've got a little label printer. It's only black and white. And it didn't stick, the labels didn't stick to the board very well. I was going to just stick them on the board and then just leave them if people wanted to peel them off, they could. But they don't stick on very well. Whatever I come up with, I would have to do it in a way that it's kind of up to the customer as to whether they want to do it, because I don't want to be sticking stickers on things and then have people resenting that. I get the craps when I get my car serviced and they stick a sticker on the windscreen. It's like, piss off. First thing I do when I get the car is I peel that sticker off. It's like, don't you put stickers on my thing. But yes, no, I have thought of it, and I really should have done it by now. The fact that I'm even talking about the fact that I haven't done it yet is pretty stupid on my part. What are you going to do? I'm a stupid guy. Okay, let's move this out of the way because I can just see this becoming chaotic. Who in the chat uses a Mac as their main computer? Just out of curiosity. Just making idle chit-chat. Who in the chat uses a Mac as their main computer? Oh, it's just smelly. Retro Techie. That's the one. This LC2 does not work, by the way. This was sent to me. This was, well, let's call it a donation, but at the end of the day, it's more of a contra payment. I am recapping this. Sorry, I'm keeping this, and I'm going to give this person a discounted price on their recapping. So. I'm pretty sure I have recapped all of their stuff. I've got to sort through a few things though before I can send it back to the customer. Not me, I do. K-Mac is E 2018 Mini. Well, that was actually going to be my next question, was going to be what age is the computer that you're using if it is a Mac? It is something I'm always curious about, because we know that Macs aren't cheap, and I'm just curious about whether people are currently using the latest and greatest, or whether they are keeping an older computer going. It's just satisfying my own curiosity. Lasers. $2020, that's pretty new. 2012, yeah, Jay's the same as me. 2012 is I use a 2012 Mac Pro. Now this computer I'm live streaming on is also a 2012. So I've got a 2012 Mac Pro, and I have a 2012 Mini in here. i7 mini, and mini, and mini, and mini, and mini. M1 desktop, 2012 MacBook Air. Yes, need something newer. Joey loves the MacBook Air. You should talk to him about the MacBook Air. Yeah, I mean I think my laptop is a 2012 MacBook Pro 15-inch, I think. That rings a bell. It's an i7. Ow. ...2007 Mac Mini, wow. 2007, is that a Core 2 Duo or is that an i5? I would have thought for 2007 we'd be looking at a Core 2 Duo. Okay. Caps galore. Ow! Oh, freaking hot. Ow. So, if we have a look at this from the top. Top view, top view, top view. Oh crap, I've lost my thing. Where'd my thing go? Oh no! Views, views. I've lost the thing to change my views. Bring all to front. Nope, I must have closed it or something. Or covered it. I've lost it. It's gone. Window. Main window. Network cameras, overlays. Maybe it's in cameras. Cameras. Nope. So I've literally lost the window that shows me how to change the cameras. Scenes, there it is. Ah, it's back. Okay, so I just want to show this here. When you look at this kind of, you see this kind of dark shape here, this smear, if you will. Smear. That is just all that capacitor leakage. It's just, you know, spread all out over the board. So, yeah. We just didn't get the i-series CPUs until 2009. Okay, cool. Got it for $20. Cool. I'm stockpiling minis at the moment. I've got a 2011, I think, that's not being used at the moment. I recently upgraded my web server from, I think, a 2011 to 2012 mini. So my web server is now 2012 mini. My other web server is a 2014. I think it's a 2014, but it's the one that has that totally weak CPU. But it's just running Ubuntu on it. It's fine. It flies. Yeah. And I've got so many iMacs. I've just got iMacs coming out of my ears at the moment. I need to find something to do with them. I have got an iMac coming up in a video. I mentioned this a little bit earlier. I've got an interesting video coming up soon, and the iMac is featuring in that. So, one of the iMacs I have. It'll be fun to check that out. Oh yes, it will. Look how dirty this is, man. Far out. 2 GHz Core 2 Duo, 3 GB RAM. Cool. 120 gig hard drive. Cool. Do-do-do-do. Gotta love them. Gotta love them. By the way, have I said lately?
Smash that like button.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I missed that one. I'll put flux on here. We're basically got to clean all these pads now, make them all look sparkly new for putting new caps on. I will need a recapping guide for this because there are so many caps. There's no way I can remember them all. I don't have that sort of brain. basically need to keep just working these pads until I can see that the solder is sticking to the whole pad, not just clumping to a little bit of it. Nope. Wick. Wickety whack. Hunting a cube and a trash can. Yeah, I would love a trash can, but I don't want to pay much for it. Which is, I know that's kind of silly, but yeah, I really don't want to pay much for a trash can. But I want one. I definitely want one in my collection. The cube I would definitely like to have. I may have a lead on a cube. I know that someone did actually mention to me that they might have one. But, you know. If I was to upgrade to a slightly more recent Mac Pro, something under 1200, would anyone have any recommendations? And when it comes to Mac Pros, you basically have what they refer to as the cheese grater, which I think there was the Mac Pro 1,1, then the 3,1, and then the 4,1, then the 5,1. I would suggest that the 1,1, 3,1 are pretty close to useless these days, but they're also very cheap to get hold of, so no issue there. The 4,1 can be flashed into a 5,1, and they can be sort of upgraded. So the 5,1 that I use has a dual hex core, so it's 12-core CPU, 3 gigahertz. You can still do a lot with them, but they are limited a bit. You know, I mean, if you're wanting to stick the latest operating system on them, you've got to go and do all sorts of jiggery-pokery with open core and stuff like that. And they do show their age, definitely. The next step up, of course, from if you're going cheese grater, is to go to a trash can. Now, the problem with the trash can is they are plagued with heating problems, overheating problems. So you have to, with some of them, you potentially have to look into, you might end up having to replace the GPU because the old GPU will be cooked. And then, of course, the next one are the more recent Mac Pros, the ones that came out in, was it 2019, I think? And, of course, the biggest problem with those is that they are Intel-based, and Apple is very much moving in a different direction. To be honest, if I had $1,200 to spend on a computer these days, I would probably be putting that towards getting a Mac Studio, I would think. But other people may have different opinions, and you are welcome to offer them in the chat. Almost had a Mac 128K, but the seller was moving warehouse and could not find it. Had a price of $150. He claims worked and has mouse and keyboard. Well, that's disappointing. It wouldn't surprise me if it did work. I mean, it's really not uncommon for those. They used capacitors that keep going. With those old Macs, you're more likely to have a problem maybe with the flyback transformer or some of the resistors or diodes. That generally the caps on those, you replace as a precaution, but a lot of the time they're still okay. If you're starting to get a bit of wobble in your power supply or a wobble in your screen, you might want to recap it. But yeah, I would not be at all surprised. If someone was telling me they had a Mac 2 that still worked, I'd be like, balls. But if they were telling me they had a 128K or a 512K or a Plus or something that still worked, I'd be, yeah, fair enough, I accept that. I know if someone said to me that they lost it, I'd be like, can I come and help you find it? A lot of cleaning up here. It is one of the unfortunate things with the LC2 that it has so many surface mount electrolytic capacitors. Not like some of the later ones that only have a handful. This one has, the capacitors are too many. That's my fantastic Scottish accent there. Oh yeah. You barely tell it apart. Yeah, you know, I've been incredibly lucky with CRTs with all of the old Macs that I've bought. I've obviously used screensavers and stuff like that because I literally don't have any compact Macs with burn-in. None of them. I've had ones that have come here into the workshop with burn-in, but none of the ones that I own. So I own, in terms of the compact Macs that I own a 512KE, a Plus, an SE, an SE30, Classic 2, several Classic and Classic 2s, and then a Color Classic. So that's pretty much all of the compacts that I own. Yes, sirree, Bob. Yes, sirree, Bob. Have I got them all? I feel like I've got them all. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Shall we do it Sesame Street style? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, so that's that little cluster up there. And then we've got 3 down here. Love working on the compact Macs. That's awesome. Yeah, they're I have this incredible nostalgia when it comes to working with the old compact Macs. Oh, we've got some green here. Look at the green. Green. It's the green. This will definitely need to be in the ultrasonic, this one. Oh wow, is that like trace damage in there? God, I might have to take that RAM slot off. I really don't want to do that. Oh, we'll recap it and we'll try it and we'll see what happens. Oh, this is finished cleaning. I've got to swap sides of the board and start it up again. Dana is here. Where have you been, sir? I know you said in the chat before that you were out. I hope you've been out doing fun Saturday night things. I think I've managed to upset lots of people by live streaming today. I'm pretty sure I've managed to upset Grudy, and I think I've upset Javier. As I regularly say, the live streaming airways do get a little packed on the weekend. It's midday. Is it wrong that I feel like drinking already? Probably not. Okay, so. Oh, I wonder what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. What shall we have for dinner tonight? Friend's house installing a lift? What? Is your friend physically impaired and requires a lift, or is it just... I need so much more information, Dana. So much more information. Speaking of lift, now I don't know if it's a worldwide brand or if it's just an Australian brand, but the drink known as Lift in this country is being discontinued. How about that? It's a lemon squash flavour, and they are discontinuing it, which of course I'm annoyed about because there just aren't enough lemon squash flavours out there. But what they are doing is apparently they're replacing it with Sprite Lemon or something. I tell you, I don't like to see a lemon squash flavour be taken off the market. It's just not good enough. Having said that, if I have a lemon squash, I have Solo. Love Solo. Pub squash is nice too. I like that one. I'm probably talking about brands that Americans don't have. Don't have Lift in Canada. Okay. Moving caps with pliers, not hot air or anything, just grab and twist. Yeah, a lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. People who I respect do it. You know, people who I sort of think, oh, you know, this is a cool person, and then I see them do that. I go, what are you, what are you doing? You know, the whole thing about doing it that way is you can remove the cap safely, probably, I don't know, 19 out of 20 times, but that one time you're going to tear a pad off and then you're going to have to repair it. I don't like it. The amount of damaged pads I've seen, yeah. So I think the general belief is that if you're dealing with an old computer that has kind of crunchy solder joints because it's old, your twist and pull will work quite well because the solder has gone quite crumbly, and so you can then do the removal. But I've destroyed pads doing it the right way. Yes, I've seen you do that, Justin. Actually, so have I. Sometimes I just get a little bit you know, sort of overzealous with the you know, sort of with the soldering on, and then you start bending pads and stuff like that. I did that on a board I worked on just recently. It's recoverable. You'd never know when you look at it to see that happened, but it does happen. And essentially the pads are stuck onto the board using sort of like an adhesive, so they sandwich them together. So essentially what they do is they etch it and then they drop it in acid, and that makes the stuff wash away. But the bond between the copper and the fiberglass underneath is an adhesive, and that adhesive gets soft under heat. So if you hit it with the soldering on and you hold it there too long and too hot, you kill it. You'll end up wiping it off the board. Okay, so just do a little bit of a clean here before I put the new caps on. We're nearly there. God, this one's going to look so good after ultrasonic. I should be taking photos of this before and then after, because, you know, I'm the ultrasonic guy now. Self-proclaimed. I'm going to wear a PowerPC badge. There we go. PowerPC badge. Okay, just keep an eye on the chat. Okay, alright. What are we doing? Put some caps on. Getting a recapping guide for an LC2, because as I mentioned before, I cannot remember off the top of my head how many I need of these things. LC3. Got one of those to recap as well, actually, but I won't do that today. Color Classic 2. Color Classic. LC475. LC2. This is one of my old recapping guides, and it looks like shit. So, we have one microfarad 50 volt. Let's grab our caps. Where are the caps? Here we are. One microfarad 50 volt. Enzo is here. Hello there. Everyone's rocking up late today. I don't know. What did I do? Did I offend someone? Oh dear, I'm going to need to get some more of these. This is my second last of the little ones. Don't use very many of these 1 microfarad 50 volts because the computers that have them generally only have one, so don't need that many. 1 microfarad 50 volts. Where does it go? I'm getting new glasses either next week or the week after, and I cannot wait. I am so sick and tired of these old glasses because my eyes have changed because I'm an old fart. Once upon a time, I had excellent vision, but I don't anymore because I'm old and the lens in the eye hardens and it stops being flexible, and it just happens when you get into your 40s. And if you didn't know that, it's what happens. So I'm telling you now so that you can be prepared for it emotionally when your vision starts to go in your 40s. What point is for 2VI that has no chime caps replaced? Have you watched my video, K-Mac, on what to do when a recap doesn't work? And followed my 9 steps. Yes, I know it's a dumb number. I should have just made up another one so I had 10 steps. But it wasn't until someone pointed out to me afterwards, 9's a weird number. I'm like, yeah, it is. It's a weird number. It might even be 8, I can't remember. But anyhow, it's because it started off as just like 5 steps, and then it became 6, and then it became 7, and then it became 8, and so the first thing to do is to go over those steps in my video, which is what to do for recap fails. It's in the featured videos on my channel. If you have watched that. If you haven't, yes, I have watched. Fair enough. Going to start on those boards in the next video. Okay, so generally no chime. So here we'll talk about no chime because no chime is an important one. Now, when you say no chime, do you mean it works but it doesn't have sound, or you mean it's just dead, as in nothing happening, totally dead, dead as a doornail? I'll ask you that. We'll work through a process of elimination here. Now I have one 100 microfarad 6.3 volt. So let's grab one of those. I have large sizes and small sizes of this one. I should be able to use a large for this. I use the small ones when I'm recapping the Sony CD, well, the Apple CD300, which is actually a Sony. That's the caddy loading CD-ROM drive. They need recapping, and they have these caps really close together, so I use slightly smaller ones so they fit in better. Dead. Okay. So one of the things you kind of have to establish first of all is the problem related to the soft power on. So because obviously the way a 2VI and 2VX work, you switch them on from the keyboard. Well, there's a press button at the back, similar to the 2CI and the 2CX and the 2. It's like all of the other Mac 2s. So one of the things that can happen is the computer itself can be working beautifully, but the soft power circuit doesn't work. Now, it's a little bit hard to do. I mean, the way I do that is I have a power supply here which bypasses the soft power circuit. And so I just fire it up with that. And if it works using that power supply, then I know the problem is with the soft startup. But I guess the first thing you need to do is probably look into, I don't know if there's a schematic out there for the 2VI, because when you have the power supply plugged in, it should emit some power on one of the pins. I don't remember which one. And be interested to see whether you are getting power on that pin. That's part of the soft power circuit. But yeah, it's not, you know, there are so many possibilities under that circumstance that it's very hard for me to just kind of say, yeah, you know, give that a try. I'd say if I had the board here, the first thing I would do is try it with my power supply that bypasses the soft power. And if it's still dead, then we know it's something, you know, there's something to do with the main workings of the board somewhere. But yeah, it's very hard to just do to say, oh yeah, just try this, because there are so many possibilities or something like that. So I'm sorry, I'm pretty useless with that, I'm afraid. 100 microfarad 6.3 volt. He sits right up here underneath the audio sockets. scissors. Right there, big one there. So I'm going to get my flux and plonk him on there, and then drop a cap in his ass. And do it that way. Better to do it round ways that way. I'm going to have to do something here which I know, upsets Jay when I do it, but I'm going to have to use a conical tip for one side of this, because I can't get to it with this without melting that headphone socket. Any tips? Flux core, hello there. Not able to find schematic, but figured we'll try the 2CI schematic to see if certainly some parts of it will definitely be similar. No doubt about that. Conical. I can't find it. There it is. Any tips for how to eliminate egret as problem for an LC3 that won't chime, boot, no display? LC3 won't chime, boot, no display. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I tend to do with that is I just swap the egret out if I have doubts. But if you don't have a spare one, then it's that's how I eliminate it. Yeah, other than by swapping. Sorry. No, I mean, what you could probably do, maybe, see, I don't, I'm just trying to, have I got an LC3 here? Whoopsie. So this is an LC3 that doesn't work. And where's the egret chip? Can't see it. Oh, there it is. So that's the guy there. I don't know how similar these are. I know that some of the boards, they're quite similar. So for instance, your LC575 and Color Classic, they're very, very similar. I don't know how similar they are on an LC3, but if they are reasonably similar, you could probably look at the schematic, because the schematic is out there for the... Actually, the LC3 schematic is out there. You might be able to get a bit of an idea of the pin out from the schematic. So, FluxCore, have you grabbed the LC3 schematic? It is. There's a Bowmark one, I think. I'm pretty sure it's a Bowmark one. Just going to check that now, make sure I'm not lying to you. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I want this. Where are we? Dropbox. Hello, Dropbox. And then we go here to Mac Technical Files. That's where I keep everything. JKLM. M for Mac Technical Files. And then 68K schematics, and Bowmark is LC3 schematic. There is an LC3 schematic out there, the Bowmark one. So that one, it's actually on page 1 by the look of it. 343SO1. No, that's not it. No, it's not on page 1. 341SO851. Yes, it is on page 1. So it's because that's U7, isn't it? Yeah. So page 1 of the schematic actually has scrambled pin out. Nice. Has what all those pins are going to, and I guess what you could do with that is you could probably, start tracing that around, see if there are any busted traces anywhere, sort of check the reset's not stuck on or something like that. Yeah, that's what I'd be doing. I'd probably just be checking traces around it. The thing you have to remember is that the the egret chips don't fail very often. It's usually bad traces, not the actual egret itself. So, what type of scope do you recommend? Well, that really does come down to what your budget is. So you'll find links in the description for the microscope that I use. You'll also find a link in there for a budget alternative. The whole thing with these is these are binocular. So in other words, you are looking through both eyes, and it means that when you're looking through them, you get depth perception. And that makes working on these things way easier. So what you're seeing on here on the screen is what's coming out of my right eye. So you're seeing my right eye view. But then of course I have a left eye view as well. And that's really important. If you're using just like a microscope camera type thing and looking at the vision on the screen, you're only going to see that in one dimension or two dimensions, not three dimensions. So, yeah, the one that I use is very expensive, and particularly because I have to get it shipped out from the US, and these things are friggin' heavy, so the shipping costs a packet. But yeah, it does come down to your budget, what you need to do, what you plan to do. Are you wanting to stick a camera on it and do the same as sort of what I'm doing here? This is the wrong board. Confused me there for a second. Just snuck these caps on the board while I wasn't watching. Right, so I've got to get a little bit of solder into this spot in here. And as you can see, it's kind of a bit difficult to get to. So I'm using this conical tip that I can squeeze in between the two. Like that. Whole LC3 board remake project, so there must be a schematic, yeah. Yeah, but have a look around, you should find it. If not, you can probably, well, jump onto Tinker Different and ask, because if it's not already up there on Tinker Different somewhere, that's tinkerdifferent.com. It's an online forum full of lots of really clever people trying to repair Macs and stuff. You can always just sort of throw some questions out on there. The people on there are way smarter than I am. And they might be able to point you, or they would certainly be able to point you towards the schematic diagram that's around. Work on a binocular or looking at a screen? Way easier binocular. Once you've gone binocular, you never go back. I'm telling you, it just makes a world of difference. You end up just, you end up just being able to do stuff with such precision, as long as your hands are reasonably steady as well. I have the budget scope. Just purchased the top, and you recommend and camera. Yes, mine coming to me by ship. Yeah. I think the microscope, I can't remember, something was a gift. I think the hot air station was a gift. Microscope might have been a gift as well. Right, now we need a few 47 microfarad 16s. We need 5 to be precise. So we're going to grab 5. I'm taking a bit of a risk getting 5 out at once because, as people know, I do sometimes lose the capacitors once I take them out. I blame it on the capacitor fairies, but, you know. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, the Ultrasonic's finished. So let's see what this one looks like now. I have to give it a rinse and then chuck it in the oven. No. Yeah, looking good. So this is definitely a lot cleaner now. Oh, it's nice and sparkly. I like that. The ultrasonicing has removed some of the printing on the electrolytic caps that we used for this recap. It's not a problem. Shouldn't be a problem. May not be a problem. Hope it's not a problem. So I'm now rinsing this in some, I've got a big container here of isopropyl alcohol. There's probably, I would just hazard a guess and say maybe 20 litres here, I'd say, in a big flat container, big enough for me to stick big boards in here for rinsing. And I just give it a swizzle around, swizzle, and then try and just drip off as much of the isopropyl alcohol as possible. It does two things. First of all, it's rinsing all of the detergents and whatnot off the board, but it's also displacing any water that might be on the board with isopropyl alcohol, and isopropyl alcohol dries much quicker than water. So it just means this board will get bone dry much quicker. So I'm going to now pop this in my little toaster oven. This is an oven that I bought for, I think it was either 30 or 60 or 30, something like that. Australian dollars from Goodwill. It's a nice little unit. It served me well. And so the board is in there now, and we're set at around about 60-ish degrees C. I'm just going to warm that up, heat it up. Okay, so let's get some caps on here. We need 3 to start off with. Just a reminder to all that if you are recapping stuff and you have taken off electrolytic caps and you are replacing them with tantalums, to remember that the stripe is on the other side. That's basically happened because the person who thought it up is sadist. He's an evil person who said, hey, you know what we should do? We should make it so that people that change from electrolytic to tantalum caps, if they don't know, they're going to put it on backwards and they're going to fry stuff. How funny will that be? Sadistic bastards. I had an interesting thing with the Color Classic I was working on in my latest video. This is the one that I was doing for Dan, the Canadian computer collector. Funny guy. When I connected when I put a multimeter onto the ADB port, so the ADB port is supposed to be spitting out 5 volts on pin 2, and it was spitting out 1 volt on pin 2, and I was able to trace that back to sort of I was able to find a point where I was supposed to be getting 5 volts and was getting nothing, and it turned out there was a broken trace leading down to the main connector of the Color Classic where it would have been getting that 5 volts from. And as soon as I repaired that, I got that 5 volts, and bing, away she went. Bing, I tells you. SE30 for free. Tube went to air and it has a terrible recap. Tube went to air as in, are you saying that it's the vacuum is gone? Is that what you're saying? But anyhow, getting an SE30 in virtually any condition for free is awesome. I mean, we've seen from my videos and other people's videos that they can be brought back from the brink. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we've got 2 more 47s. I've got to find out where they go. There and there. Yeah, the 2 big ones left here. So we've got 1 here and 1 here. Piffle. Boop-a-doop boop. Vacuum is gone, yeah. Piffle. Shall we see how the chickens are going? Yeah, let's go see how the chickens are going. There's that one on the left there, in the coop, walking into the coop. That's the blind one. And she's probably pecking around there, trying to find the food container. The food container's not there, so she won't find it. But she's probably just pecking around. She just pecks in space, hoping that there will be food there. But there, see, you see her? She's pecking in space there. Poor thing. Yeah, she's very well fed. She's a unit. She's the biggest chicken I have. She's gigantic. So it's not like she's missing out on food or anything like that. All right, back to scope view. So that is a live chicken view. If anyone out there likes a little bit of 24/7 chicken live stream action, I will put up a link a little bit later on to show you which channel to subscribe to, because I don't do it on this channel, I do it on another channel. And now, needless to say, they're a little bit dull at night time because they just go in their coop and sleep. Watched an amazing movie the other day. I don't know if anyone's seen it, called The Mauritanian. Quite an amazing film, based on a true story. Well, Retro Techie, you're already subscribed to the chickens, so that doesn't count. Reed Reinfeld, hello there. Looky what we have here. We have recapping an LC2 at this particular point. So I've done all of the big caps now, I'm going to do all the little ones. So we've got 10 microfarad, 16 volt. I really go through the 10 microfarad, 16 volts when doing these. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we'll just work our way through them. Now, with this particular board, when I finish recapping it, I will try it out, but chances are it won't work because there is so much gunk on this board, it'll probably need a darn good clean first. Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack, hello there to you. Don't worry about being late, I have just been killing time till you got here. Joe is here, hello Joe. My apologies for streaming over top of you and Javier, as I was explaining to people in this at the beginning of this stream, that the live streaming airwaves get a little bit congested on the weekends. I probably should have live streamed yesterday because no one else was live streaming yesterday, but I was doing chores. I was doing painting and sanding and things like that. And I thought, no, I'll just stream on Sunday. That's cool, I'll stream on Sunday. And then I get up and I find out that Grudy's doing a premiere. So he did a premiere of his world's fastest something or other. It's always the world's fastest something or other. And then I look over and I see Javier streaming. It's a shame because I really like watching Javier streams. But you know, as I say, crammed airwaves. Crammed airwaves. At least we can always go back and watch them afterwards, can't we? Let's face it. Let's face it. Likes the black copper Moran's chickens. The chickens that I actually have, I have got an Australorp and she is a big black chicken with black eyes, and she is one aggressive chicken, I'm telling you. We had an ibis in the backyard the other day, and she just went at it. An ibis is a pretty decent sized bird. Having said that, they're not very aggressive. And then I've got a couple of hybrid Australorps. They're Australorp mixed with other chickens. One of them is delightful, actually. Really nice personality, nice nature. I've got a little, what do you call them? Sussex? No, is it a Sussex? No, it's something else. It's a foghorn? I don't know, something. And then I've got a Wyandotte, and then I've got like a tan Sussex. They're good layers. Certainly no shortage of eggs at the moment. Some of the ones are quite young, so they laid eggs right through winter. So that's nice, because some of the older chickens, they kind of just stop laying during winter when it gets cold. You might just get an occasional egg from them, but on the whole, it just all comes to a grinding halt. But when they're young, they lay right through winter, and that's nice. No egg shortage. Mike's here. Hello, Mike. How are you today? I know you've been a little bit under the weather lately. I hope you're feeling better. Have an SE30 with horizontal lines and instant death chime. Any thoughts? It's got to be the RAM Demux chip. Well, obviously RAM is the first thing, but if you know you're working with good RAM sticks and the slots are clean and everything like that, then the next thought would be the RAM Mux chips. Not the what do you call them? The multiplexers. That would be where I would be heading. I'm breaking an LC2 today, Mike. You're still alive, unfortunately. F258, that's probably right. Let me have a look. Sounds right. Yes, F258. Just work your way across those. I mean, I always keep stacks of spares. I'm sure you do as well. Just work your way across them. Start with the ones from. So there are I think there are ones that are kind of paired up with the different slots. So start from the bottom up, and just replace them one at a time. The symptoms you're describing, that's how I've fixed them in the past. They've been unhappy mux chips. And of course, it is funny the way with some of these things they start going. You know, when with certain devices, at a certain point, you then start getting certain failures that you didn't get before. The failures that have occurred because these components are getting of a particular age. Whoopsie poo. It's like the old 128K now. I mean, you get a 128K these days and you can be pretty much guaranteed that they're going to have failed RAM chips. At least one. Whereas once upon a time that wouldn't have been a problem. I mean, they are failing because of their age. Solder ball! Are you pointing out a solder ball on here, or did you find a solder ball on your SE30? And some of these, what do you call them, vias that have got solder in them are a bit blobby, so they kind of look a bit solder ballish. But I don't think I have any solder balls here. I hope I don't. Solder balls! Okay, let's keep capping. So I'm basically doing this LC2. I hadn't planned to do this one, but I did it as a sort of a fill-in because I've got an LC 575 over there, which was misbehaving, but I didn't want to do any diagnostics on it until it was clean. So I chucked it in the ultrasonic, and now it's sitting in the dryer, and it should be nice and sparkly clean now. It was a fair. Okay, cool. Retro repair roundup tomorrow. That's a good thing for me to do on my Monday morning. Watch that, assuming of course that I'm not manically busy, which does happen sometimes, and when that happens I miss RRR. Who's your guest on tomorrow's show? Joe? Thing we all hate about the old Classic 2 is how many of these little caps to have. Eric's Edge. Cool. I like Eric. Actually, he's not here today, so I've gone off him. No, in truth though, Eric doesn't stick around late. I don't know what time zone he's in, but a lot of the time he turns up to the streams and he's there for a bit, and then he's like, "I'm gonna go now." So I wouldn't actually expect him to see him. Expect to see him at a stream this late. I know it is. I'm mainly all linked in with the East Coast because all of the Americans I know, most of the Americans I know are on the East Coast. So what is it now? It would be 10:47 p.m. I guess on the East Coast. On Saturday, because it's already Sunday here, because I'm in the future, because I have a flux capacitor. It's right here in front of me. It's a capacitor completely coated with flux. Marty! $7.47 here. So where are you again, Thomas? I know everyone tells me where they're from and then I just forget. Thomas, you're in Canada, aren't you? Am I right there? Or I could be wrong. Oh, Eric is here. Look at that. Glad we didn't say anything terrible about Eric. Not that we would say that. Goodness me. I don't know. I mean, I don't know Eric that well, but as far as I can tell, Eric seems to be a very, very nice person. So. Yep. Here we go. Michigan, edge of the eastern time zone. Cool. West coast of Canada. Yep, at least I remembered that bit right. 9:49 here. Eric is pure evil. You must know something I don't know, because I've never really read him like that. Okay, well I think this is the last cap, so I think we can start rejoicing. There is much rejoicing. Beep, 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 beep. I used to use larger caps for these ones. These, I'll show you actually. Yep. I used to use this size cap for these size pads, and I can get them on there. I mean, it's a snug fit because it's about the same size of the pads. You can get them to work, but I just ended up finding that it's just easier to use these little ones. So, and I think it looks marginally better. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just being super fussy, fastidious, anal, but you know, I think it kind of looks a little bit nicer having these smaller ones. You guys be the judge. I'm just checking to make sure I've soldered the both sides of all of these, because some of them I did one side and then came back and did the other side. I just want to make sure I didn't forget to do the other side of any of them. This one's gone a little bit brown from hot air. That's one of the original ones that was on the board. Really need to buy some of that flux boost. I've been using JCar stuff and it seems very ordinary. Yes, it is. I should actually contact JCar and tell them they don't sell a good quality flux at JCar. They just flat out don't. They have Rosen flux, Dr. Rosen, and they have flux pen. Don't know, but if you're wanting to buy in Australia, it's not cheap. You can buy a tube like this, but they're not cheap. The stuff that I buy, I'm buying from Amazon in the US. And yeah, it makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference. But you just got to remember that whatever you put on has to come off. Ultrasonic cleaner, then I can just use it without a care in the world. Should we stick a socket on this? Let's stick a socket on it. Seeing as the thing's still in the heater, I'm going to get some of the solder out of these holes. I can ship to Australia cheaper than US, yeah. I have the flux pen, it's very ordinary indeed, yeah. I mean, so I can buy Chip Quick locally. There's a company called Mectronics. I think it's Mektronics, Mectronics, I think, or is it ICS? Mectronics, I think it is. Mektronics, I think that's it. And they do sell some fluxes, and they sell this one in particular. It's a Chip Quick SMD 4300 TF10. And I really rate this flux. It's good, but it is not cheap. This is a 10cc syringe, and I think it's like $40 or something like that. It's a bit pricey. Because I have affiliate links with Amazon, I get paid in Amazon gift cards, so I generally buy my stuff from Amazon, and I feel like I'm not paying anything for it because I'm just doing it with the gift cards, even though, you know, I am. It's my hard-earned affiliate money. Come out, Mr. Solder. I have to show everyone that's joined just recently all of my different buttons that I have. I'm very proud of all my buttons. getting a bit of a swing now. Getting all this solder out of the holes. Main thing with solder, getting it out of the holes, is make sure there's already some solder on the, if you have some solder already on the wick. Solder likes hanging out with solder, you know, it just travels along, it flows. It's interesting, I had someone decide to do this, what I'm doing at the moment, and that is empty out all the solder from these holes and put a socket on. And once they did it, the computer stopped working. And so I can only assume that they did some damage to some of these traces. Can't really see any other reason why it would cause a problem. Dirty soldering iron tip. Getting hot. It's hurting my fingers. Ouchie. Ouchie. I've got 3 more spools of solder wick up in the house. I hope I don't have to go up there and get them. I do have another one here, which hopefully will be enough for me to finish this. Get rid of that. Oh crap. Empty. You try this one. This is the big thick stuff. This one doesn't work as well though. Need more heat. Yes, it doesn't work as well. Hold the wick with a pair of tweezers. I did that, sir. Working our way along. I wasn't able to get my 2mm wick, so this is why I've got 3mm wick here. I was able last time I went there, I was able to grab a few rolls of it, but the last time I went there it was all gone. And they said expected in, I don't know, August sometime. They had it in for my last visit there. So this is, as I mentioned before, this is JK Electronics that I frequent a lot. Some of them know me by name. One of them in particular likes saying my name a lot. They call him Bruce. He loves that joke. Really loves that joke. You know they call him Bruce? Anyhow, he's friendly though. We're nearly there, folks. Smashing through it. I'll take back all the bad things I said about this 3mm wick. This is making really light work of it. Last one, come on, don't be a, thank you. Let's going to say a swears. Mine's saying, what are we fixing this week? Yeah, well, I think I've gone beyond that. No one ever asked me in there, actually. I went in and I bought like this, like an IC puller once, and one of them said, whoa, man, you don't see ICs that need those much anymore. And it's like, oh, well, I do on the ones I work with. That's about the closest I've ever got to someone sort of. And then I had someone the other day asking me some questions about solder wick. You know, what. But yeah, none of them have ever asked me what I do. I should add the socket to my LC too, but haven't needed to because I have a Farallon in there with an FPU on it. Yes, well it's a perfectly good reason indeed to not bother. I get frustrated by that gap there. It's like, Apple, you assholes. You've done the architecture and everything like that, and then you've gone low cost. No, it's low cost. It's too expensive to stick a socket on there. No way, low cost. And I just, man, out. Is this the size? This looks like the size. Is this the size? Too big. Too big. I wonder what that one's for. Yeah, doesn't matter. Socket. Oh, that other one, I know what it's for. It's for, what is it, the swim chip or something like that? One of the chips on the, an SE. That's what that big one's for. It's not the swim. I don't think it's the swim. Something. Still dirty. Any person that buys components at all the correct caps to do an SCPSU. Which one do you go to, Max, if you don't mind putting into the live chat? Two that I generally go to around here. The one is the Blacktown. That's the main one because that's just up the road from me. But I sometimes go to the Castle Hill one as well. I actually know one of the guys that works at the Castle Hill one. If it wasn't the fact that most of my viewers are in the US, I would actually contact JCar about a sponsorship. But most of the people who watch my videos can't actually buy JCar stuff, so it wouldn't be really worth their while. Whoopsie dinky die. So when it comes to putting these sockets on, there is a little white dot to indicate where pin 1 is. Screen printed on the board there, you can see it. And then we've got a little arrow here, there, which is pointing to pin 1. So that's how I get that lined up. There is also there are other ways to tell. There is one flat edge, but I just use the pin 1. Amazon warehouse. Erina, okay, cool. There's actually sort of 3 J cars that I can go to that are reasonably close, and probably 4 actually that I can go to that are reasonably close, so that's handy. If one doesn't have it, I can just jump to the other. The ones I prefer to go to, I quite like the Blacktown one just because it's so ridiculously close to me, but the Castle Hill one I like because it's there's loads and loads of parking there, and it's not on the main road, so you can get in and out without having to go, because there's this part of Castle Hill where there's all these shops, and it's just, there's always so much traffic there And this, it's not in that main drag, so I can kind of get in and out nice and easily. And right next to the J-Car shop at Castle Hill is a sweets shop, or candy store, as some people might say. Out here it would be like a lolly shop. They call it a lolly shop. And they sell bulk quantities of sweets, lollies, candy, whatever the word you want to use is. And they sell quite a lot of imported stuff as well. So they sell kind of like US candy that we don't normally get out here. Stay away from the chocolate. I don't know what you guys are doing to chocolate in America, but every American chocolate I've tried is disgusting. I'm sure you guys have good stuff, but I've only ever been exposed to disgusting American chocolate that just tastes like you're biting down on a candle. Whoops. Oh man, that hurts. Next closest one is 40 minutes away. Step away from the mouse. I like that. So I pretty much do this to every LC2 that I come across. I've had, with some of my customers, some like me to add it. Others say, no, I want it to look original. That's fine. Truth be told, I'm not even sure you're going to get much from having an FPU on these. I mean, you definitely see the difference when you run a benchmark, but I am yet to have anyone do like a practical demonstration of something where you go, oh yeah, no, this is way zippier because it's got an FPU in it. I don't even know what real world application you would do that with. I mean, maybe running a filter in Photoshop, but let's face it, you're not going to really run Photoshop on an LC2, are you? Be able to open up a JPEG the size of a postage stamp. Okay, looking good. American chocolate is chocolate. Other chocolates are confections with other oils and stuff in it. Ew. Greg Brady's here. Hello there. US mass market chocolate is not good. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sure there are some good chocolates out there, but what I have tried of US chocolate has been pretty disgusting. It's, I mean, to the point that I can't imagine anyone enjoying it, but you know, maybe you get used to it, I'm not sure. The main chocolate that I eat out in this part of the world is Cadbury. Cadbury is actually made here. I mean, Cadbury is a UK company, but the Cadbury chocolate that we eat in this country is made at the Australian Cadbury factory. And I've been told that Cadbury in the US is not as good as Cadbury in the UK or Australia. I don't know. But, okay, so let's just have a little look here. We'll get a top view. There we go. So that's recap now. So that's all the caps on there. I think there are 13 in total from memory, 13 or 14, something like that. And they're all done. This hasn't been cleaned yet, so there's a very good chance it's not going to work, but we'll give it a crack anyway. The LC2 sometimes gets a little bit upset about being run when it's not in the box. I think it's a grounding issue. If anyone has watched a video of mine that I did a while ago where I was testing an LC2 and it made a farty noise when I switched it on. It worked fine once I put it in the case, so it must have just been some sort of grounding issue. Because you've got, if you have a look under here, you've got all these things here, doinka, 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 there, and they all touch these metal things here. Doinka, 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 doinka. And so I'm assuming that there's something there, problem, something, thing. I much prefer the LC2 to the LC1. The LC1, of course, is just a 68020 rather than a 68030 CPU. The other thing is the LC1 has the uses these sort of flat metal things for the fan and the speaker. I quite like the fact that this one has plugs for the fan and speaker. Certainly for someone, the perspective of someone doing testing, I much prefer that. We'll plug in the hard drive, see what happens. Who knows? It might fire up. And I don't have any RAM in this. The RAM slots are a little bit ugly, but yeah, LC2, you know, nice little computer. LC3 even better, of course, but you know. M&Ms are not so good. Smarties are far superior, not the compressed sugar pills. US Cadbury mini eggs are different. Cadbury chocolate tastes better than when made in Canada. I actually think Smarties are better than M&Ms as well, but I still don't mind M&Ms either. So. Ketchup chips. What a ketchup chip? Are you saying you're just getting hot chips and putting, or are we talking? Are you talking like, because chips in this part of the world, chips can mean either fries or potato chips. You know, as in chips. What we call crisps, or other people call crisps. You know, so and they're all just chips to us. And with ketchup chips, you know, obviously you can pour ketchup all over your chips, or are you talking about a crisp that is flavoured like ketchup? Who knows? Oh, ketchup-based powder flavouring. Yeah, crisps. There's every flavour under the sun out here. We've had Vegemite flavoured chips out here. Can you believe that? Okay, all right. We've got this thing here. I'm going to stick some power in. I haven't got a screen or anything at this stage. I can get one. But we'll at least see if we get a chime. I've got virtually no RAM. I've got no VRAM. Not even sure if you can get a picture without VRAM in these. I'm not sure. I mean, I've got it here. I can always put it in, but we'll just do a quick test. There we go. It's plugged in. I don't even know if the power supply works, to be honest. There you are. Ready, steady. Dead as a doornail. This reeks of power supply because we're not even getting the fan spinning or anything. So I would say the power supply in this is probably shot. Let's test it, shall we? How will we test that? With what tool will we test the power supply? Will it be a beautiful Kaiwitz KM601 digital multimeter, full of features, low price? Links in the description if you'd like to buy one. I've lost all my overlays. Here we are. And by gum, look at all those functions. Amazing. Multimeter like this might even save your life. You use the NFC or whatever it's called, NCV, Nissan commercial vehicles. You can use the non-contact voltmeter and test to see if there's a live wire without even needing to get close to it. Could save your life. All right, let's drop this onto DC voltage and then we'll start probing. So get that on the Negatoro and hang on. Yeah, we're pulsing here. We're not getting up to voltage and we're pulsing. And I'm just going to get out the old stethoscope because I've got a sneaking suspicion the power supply is ticking. Beep, 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 beep. Check the patient. Okay. Can't hear anything. It's definitely ticking, but for whatever reason I can't hear it through this. So we'll worry not about that. There's a little badge with Bernadette. And here's a little badge. This was Jay's idea. Jay recommended I make a badge like that because most of the good ideas that I have come from Jay. Got a quick time. Got a bit of a Brancus eye going on here. Got me with a cap on my head. Got System 9. There are so many, so many. How about this? We've got a System 7 trash. Hypercard. Did it do Hypercard? There's Hypercard. Good old Apple. Rainbow. Okay. Over those terrible green caps. I don't think I've recapped this one, but anyhow, I'm not going to recap this now. I'm going to just hunt down and find a power supply that works. So I'm going to put you on the chicken cam for a moment while I go and find a power supply. So, changing sound. Bye Eric, thanks for joining. Ba 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 ba. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da da da. Okay. I hope Eric heard my see you later that I went out and said when I went out and looked at the chickens. Okay, so this is the power supply. It's going to need recapping. If it hasn't already been recapped, I don't think it has, but this one has been recapped, and this is from my working LC too. So if this doesn't work, then we can rule out the power supply and we'll know it's the logic board. So we plug him in, switch him on. Happy, happy, happy. Yeah, I wouldn't mind some tacos as well. Actually, I wonder if my wife wants tacos for dinner. I'll see if she wants that. Some tacos. Anyway, I use the soft shell tacos. I use the little tortillas and yummy. Right. Okay. Well, let's stick it. Oh God, I should have brought the friggin' screen with me. What a dumbass. It's not still down here, is it? No, it's up there. I'm gonna have to go back up again. What a twit. I get the screen. Well, let's make sure I got everything, eh? So let's put some RAM and VRAM in it. So we can test it. Let's stop being a dumbass. Is this? No, this is not right. Maybe this one had no RAM in it. So I probably will have to go get some RAM and VRAM. So I'll go get some RAM and VRAM. I can use one of these VRAMs, but this is from a different computer, so we won't do that. Don't want to get them mixed up. Yeah, so the corn tortillas, I love it when you fry them and you get them kind of a bit crispy. I love the taste of that, biting into a corn tortilla that's kind of been fried to crispy. When it comes to a soft shell taco, much prefer the wheat ones. Exactly what you just said, Greg. All right, okay, so what do I need? I need some RAM, VRAM, I can grab that from that up there, and I need a screen. So we're going back to chickens again, sorry folks. Well, I'll be quick, I promise. That one. Oh. Okay, so we brought things. I brought everything, so I shouldn't need anything. Got myself here a remade VRAM sim. This one came from Drake, also known as Drake. And then I've got a couple of 4 megabyte sims. I'll take this one up to, I think it's 10 megabyte, which I think is the maximum you can put into one of these. Right, and we got ourselves my little screen, which I'm sure anyone here who watches my streams will have seen this screen before. VGA imp. Oh, you are frickin' joking, aren't you? Oh, thank goodness. God, I thought, no, I'm going to have to go back up. But no, it's good. We're fine, we're fine. Oh, yeah. I actually, last tacos that I made, I used fish. So I got some little fish pieces, battered fish pieces, and fried them up. Dropped them in. Oh, man, it was so nice. And then I served that with some chipotle mayo on there as well. Yum, yum, yum. Little lettuce, I'll make a little salsa in there. Homemade guacamole. Avocados are pretty cheap at the moment, so I think they are. Well, they certainly were. I don't know if they still are. Okay, we're ready. Steady. Ping. Oh, immediately get a screen. That's always a good sign. This is the first stage. The second stage will be when we see a cursor and we get the round corners. Okay, we've got the round corners and the cursor, and we've even got a happy Mac. Look at that. That's a happy little LC too. Oh, that reminds me, I've got 2 bloody external blue scuzzies to build. Some folks bought some. I haven't connected a keyboard or a mouse to this. Mouse is probably the most important thing. Mouse here. Little mouse here. There's a mouse. Don't ever plug or unplug these while the power is on. Do not do what I'm about to do. It's bad. You can fry things. I didn't even bother to check and see. This hard drive still works. This hard drive still works. How cool is that? It's full of junk. SimCity. SimCity. What's that? The spaces. Oh wow, this definitely belonged to someone. Lots of untitled folders. Missile command. Oh god, what is that? I think this is owned by a child, because I tell you what, someone's just gone to town with this. Oopsie. Control panels, kid picks. So I've got another power supply to do at some stage. But the main thing we can do now is we will check out that LC575 board after cleaning in the Ultrasonic. Okay, so now we're in colour. Oh, in pretty colour now. Isn't that pretty? It's nice. I think whoever owned this was called Corey. Hello, Corey. There's a Mick here as well. The most recent file on here, April 11, 2002. So someone's using this up until quite recently. So how about that? All right, let's shut him down and let's just do what we came here to do in the first place and check and see if this... Oh, I did restart instead of shut down. Switch. Okay. All right, let's get this out of the way because I need to make room to put the Color Classic up here for us to test the old thing. There we go. Yeah, possibly from a school. I might even say on the case. Because sometimes these things are engraved. It's got a sign on it saying back, just in case you weren't sure where the front and back of one of these computers is. There's the front here with the floppy drive, and it's the back's that way. It's got a number 8 on it, and that does make it sound like it's from a classroom, doesn't it? Because, you know, you just have them numbered in the classroom. I'm going to whip the board out because it needs to be cleaned. It's doing my due diligence. That's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, my battery is flat on this, so I'm going to go get another one that doesn't have a flat battery. So I will be right back Just sit tight in the meantime. Actually, you know what? I'm so close to finish. You know what I'm going to do? How's that sound? Is that okay? If the microphone's further away, it won't sound as good, but just until I finish this, I hope it's okay. Either that or just sit and listen to the chickens. Yeah, the battery is flat on this. I think I grabbed one that wasn't recharged since using it last. So, sorry about that, folks. Okay, so sound, we're getting it from there. It's not brilliant, but it's okay. Side view. There we go. So, I'm going to get this board. This is the one that we looked at the very beginning that was already recapped. Notice there was quite a lot of gunge on it. So I thought I'll pop it into the ultrasonic cleaner and get it all sparkling clean, and it looks pretty good now. Gotta say, it's looking pretty darn clean. So, pop the CPU back on, and that way. Okay, CPU is back on. Then we'll get the RAM that I took off here. As I say, I mean, we're literally minutes away from finishing, so even if this doesn't work, I'm not going to fix it anymore. I'm going to wrap this stream up. I've been going now for, coming up for 3 hours, 2 hours 45. That's longer than I thought I'd go for. I do thank everyone who has come along today. I am going to try and set up these streams in the future with a little bit more warning so that people can get notifications and stuff. Just lately, sort of much of my life has just been happening very, what's the word, spontaneously, shall we say. Sounds like you're in a submarine. Cool. Maybe I am. Thought about that. Okay. I'll pop this board in. I found a really nifty little hack for starting these without a keyboard, by the way. Right, so board's in, switch him on. Now I'm going to grab a needle for my little hack. Oh, I've lost my needle. I have to grab another needle. Okay, grab a needle. And basically the hack is you just feed the needle into pin 2 of the ADB port and then it switches on. Oops, needle's too fat in thin needle. Really would have just been quicker to get a keyboard, wouldn't it? I've got to demonstrate the hack though. Just got to. So let's go for a slightly thinner needle from here. What do you think you're doing? Bloody pigeon in here. Behaving like he owns the place. So, feeding this little pin needle through pin 2. Okay, we've got a chime. Now we got that first time before. We got the thing to chime, but we didn't get anything past this. And then I did a restart a couple of times and we got Sad Mac chime. And you know, we might get that again, but it's just that whole thing of just wanting to go through, you know, wanting to eliminate the possibility that dirtiness was the cause. And this is basically what happened to us last time. We just ended up getting nothing on the screen, even though we had our green little green power light. We got a chime. Of course, if we get a chime, we know it's reading ROMs because it's actually getting that sound out of the ROMs. So we know that much. We know the CPU works. And you don't get a chime if the CPU's dead. But then we're just not getting past this. Now, a few things that could be causing these sorts of problems, but at this stage, it's looking pretty much like it was before. And I'm going to guess that if I do connect the keyboard up and do a couple of restarts, we're going to have what we had last time, where we just get a Sad Mac chime. So, keyboard's plugged in. Yeah, so I just did a restart. Now we've got a Sad Mac chime. So, interesting. Now if I switch it off, switch it back on. I got a pop, but I didn't get a chime. So we did get power light come on, but we didn't get any noise. And we restart and we get the unhappy noises. So I know that this works. I can plug in another Color Classic if you want to see the screen working. So I'm confident that it's not just a display issue, because this is one that I was using just recently and the screen works. So we're looking at there are a few possibilities, but yeah, to be honest, Thomas, that's where I'm heading. I'm heading towards bad RAM. I am going to. I've got to find a spare that uses this, or I've got to find a donor board that uses the same sort of RAM. Should be able to find one somewhere. Oh, I've got 475s. I've got a few spare 475s. The 475 is bound to use the same RAM as the 575, and then I'll just swap them over one at a time, and hopefully it will then just work. So that's what I'm going to do with that. I may even do that a little bit later today, but I am going to stop now so that I can have some lunch because I am hungry. I've got some leftover Chinese food I'm going to have. So yum. So let me just do the normal sign-off thing here. I will just change over to the chickens. Yeah. No, I'll change over to this view. Oh, look at all the chickens there. There are all heaps of them around, all just checking the place out. All right. So what I should do, of course, is just put a link in the description for anyone who does like to follow the chickens. Please subscribe to this channel because you will get notifications when I am doing a chicken live stream. So just hang on a sec. Subscriptions, there, that's it there. This is the channel. So if anyone wants to subscribe to my chicken channel, that is the link. That is the link there. If you click on that, you just get taken to my Bruce Rain channel. It's only like 20 subscribers or something like that. And if you subscribe to that channel, you will get notifications when I do live chicken streams. There's nothing particularly interesting about it. Essentially, it's just a 24/7 video of my chickens, just walking around the backyard with a little microphone down there so you can hear them as well. If that's what floats your boat, it's there. It's just done as a little bit of fun. It's not running all the time, but it does run a lot of the time. So sometimes things go wrong. I mean, I had a network outage the other day, and so the stream stopped because I lost the internet. What are you gonna do? So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for the super chats. I do apologize if today was a little bit weird or boring. That's mainly because I am a bit weird and boring. Yeah, I think that's probably it. As I say, I've got some really interesting stuff coming up. I've got another ultrasonic cleaner video coming. I've got a video on a new product, which is about to hit the streets. A Kickstarter project that's coming up. I'm going to be doing a review of that. They've sent me a functional prototype of this thing. I'm going to test it out, do a video, and I'm really looking forward to that one. So I've written the script. I'm going to probably start recording that later today, maybe even. So again, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for keeping me company. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for keeping the chat active, and I hope to see you at the next one. So I say goodbye to everyone. Have a good rest of weekend, Saturday, Sunday, whatever happens to be where you are. I shall see you later.